In this video we show that, not only is Clarence Moriwaki the liar that many islanders are coming to realize he is, but he's also a perjurer and a criminal who has violated Washington law. Before he lost his court attempt to have a polite neighbor, Richard Ranierson, put in jail because that neighbor criticized him for supporting politicians who made indefinite detention without charge or trial legal, Clarence Moriwaki lied to two different judges and to our island community in his attempt to demonize his neighbor and to get others to fear him. Central to his effort was his lie, crafted with the help of liar, Bonnie McBrien, to paint Ranierson as a dangerous stalker who physically stalked people's homes. This lie resulted in calls for Ranierson's death, horrible court opinions, rights violations, and started with a simple, clear, innocuous analogy. Well, and some perjury from Clarence Moriwaki. Let's get to it.
This is the matter of Clarence Moriwaki versus Richard Ranierson, cause number 12-17. I have had a chance to review the request for the protection order and have read your petition in full and all the attachments. I do have some questions for you, so if you please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, state your full name for the record, please.
Clarence Ben Moriwaki.
All right, and how do you know the respondent that's named in this petition?
I don't know him personally. He started posting on my Facebook page several months ago.
All right, and so tell me about the Facebook pages that you have.
My own page.
Okay, and is it a public page?
Well, the public can see it.
Okay, so it's an open page, and your personal page is an open page?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I allow my post to be seen, but it is closed in that I only have friends. You know, I sign on friends.
And did he try to friend you on Facebook?
Yes, I did friend him.
Okay, because you friend, that's sort of your practice is friending whoever is interested in being friends on Facebook, if you will.
Right, and he appeared to have some shared interest in Japanese American history. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was fine. Mm-hmm. These are screenshots of my phone text message.
And he somehow got your phone number?
Well, yeah, it's on my Facebook page.
Your cell phone number is on your Facebook page?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he got your cell phone number, and then he texted.
He could have got it there. He's been trolling me a lot. I use it on news releases. It's also on my LinkedIn page. So
your
my phone number.
Phone number is okay.
Pretty accessible.
Another way Moriwaki's phone number might have been pretty accessible is when he sent a message to Ranierson providing his unsolicited phone number with an invitation to meet for beer or coffee. That possibility apparently escaped Clarence's brainstorming effort with the judge.
Hours later, he must have stayed up all night to make this page. Mm-hmm. Deliberately attacking me. It's obviously my name, my image. Mm-hmm. Tons of memes that connect me to Nazis, lots of other stuff. And he was finally called out a few days later, a week or so later, by our own state senator, saying you're assuming the identity of a constituent. Mm-hmm. And so he changed the page name to not Clarence Moriwaki of Bainbridge Island.
Okay.
So
is it still up?
Yes, it is.
Has Facebook been notified?
Facebook has been notified about 40 times to my count. Mm-hmm. Many of my friends have done that. They have not pulled it down. This says it did not violate their community standards. I have challenged him on that, saying I am the person of which this is named after. Mm-hmm. Facebook has not replied to me. I've told them that he's under investigation, that our Bainbridge Island Police Department has recommended a charge of cyberstalking with the prosecutor, and that I was seeking a protection order. And Facebook has been mute now for a week. They usually reply right away, and they haven't. So,
what is the relation between him and this Bonnie McBrien who forwarded you this post about him saying he was in front of your house?
So after I blocked him on the, what day was that, the 5th?
This is on February 7th.
Yeah.
Dated.
So after I blocked him on the 6th and he started his page, he started going to other people's pages, and Bonnie was not even a Facebook friend of mine at that time, but there was lots of different comments about issues that he would hijack.
How did he know that this person knew you? Or?
He didn't. It didn't matter. He didn't know.
Does she know you? Or
now we do.
Oh, but you only know her because of this comment? So
yeah.
And so you didn't know her before?
I did not. And there were other.
She here on the island?
Yes, she does. She is the manager of the Inn at Eagle Harbor down at the end of Madison Avenue. I started getting messages from people saying, Clarence, you're getting attacked on these pages. Now, I was away, I was out, and so I started getting these messages that someone's really jumping on my page, ragging you, attacking you. Bonnie was one of those people. There were other people, Laura Jones and Houston Wade. He was obviously upset that I blocked him, and so now he was jumping on other people's pages, starting to defame me and starting to attack me.
And these are just their private pages?
Yeah,
that they're
these are private Facebook pages.
open? So
I
that
guess so. They must have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so she found you.
Yeah, well,
and
she
sent you this?
She messaged me and said, this has got to be happening. And then I said, he said he was outside my house trolling, and I said, well, you got to be, I mean, it really is, I hope he's metaphorical. And she says, no, he's actually said he's doing it. And
At this point, Clarence Moriwaki references the police report and tells the judge that he read in the police report that Bonnie had told the police that she had seen Ranierson in the public shopping space under the condo Moriwaki rents. But the claim that Bonnie told the police that Ranierson was here, at these shops behind me, in this public square, is not supported by the police report. Rather, the police report indicates the detective learned from Moriwaki that Bonnie had told Clarence that she had seen Ranierson here. It would appear that Moriwaki told the judge one thing, and the police another, much like a child might play mommy against daddy.
She, according to the police report I read, they interviewed her and she said she physically saw him outside my place, which freaked me out. I wasn't home at the time, I was shopping.
Did he actually go to your place? Do you know?
That's what she said. I wasn't there.
But she only knows what he said he was doing, she's not your neighbor or anything?
Well, according to the interview that she had with Officer Lewis, she said that she saw him outside my place, as well as him confirming through messages that he actually was outside my place.
Well, if she doesn't know you, how does she know where you live and what your place? I'm confused.
I don't know how she... but she said in her text that he actually was outside. He confirmed. Mr. Ranierson confirmed to her that he was actually outside.
But outside your house is a
Yes.
public place where there's stores and
That's
a
true.
bakery and things like that. Okay. Is the bakery still open
Sure.
there?
Yeah.
Is it? I for some reason I haven't
Yeah,
been there in a while.
it's been under new management for a year or so.
Okay.
Right. Sounds like the afternoon. Yeah.
I just posted my response and am allowing time for it to be read. Then I will delete the thread. Richard announced he is outside your house. But your house is a condo.
Condo, you're right.
At the Winslow Green. Okay, so it's possible that he found himself outside your house and was aware of where you lived because of you've been very public about it.
And he knew where I lived because when we had that snow a few months ago, I took a picture of it, and then a few moments later he posted onto my wall a picture of basically the same scene. So he, from the angle of where obviously you take my shot, he knew where I lived because he posted immediately after that him walking his ferret or whatever it was.
Okay, in front of the Winslow Green?
Yeah, a little while after that.
Did you find that troubling?
No, I just thought he might have just been happening to walk out and be walking in the snow at the time.
All right, and so did it said in here that he was talking to some of his guests, our mutual neighbors, as they leave his house. Did you ever find out if he was actually there speaking with people?
Again, I was not home.
You never heard after the fact or anything?
No, I was. No, I didn't. No. And it was a metaphoric thing from another Facebook post.
What do you mean metaphoric?
Well, I had posted and I can happily share that with you, but it was a post from years ago about people at a cocktail party, and I just simply said Facebook's like a cocktail party. You walk around, some conversations are interesting, you can walk by and listen to some, and if you find some too controversial, you can walk on by, you know, and he, and I said, so come up with a nice caption, and his caption was all back to this National Defense Authorization Act thing that I go, what's that got to do with this? What's your problem, man?
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, Facebook's that party. And dude, my Facebook page is like my party. I'm the host.
Mm-hmm.
And friends are welcome to be there, but if a guest gets too out of hand or he makes other guests feel uncomfortable, it's my right as a host to ask that guest to quiet down, cease or desist, or if they get out of line, I can ask them to leave the place.
Well, and so when he was blocked from your personal page, did he go over and start posting anything on the memorial page?
No, I didn't see anything there. He was too busy making up his new Facebook page again. And it's been very frustrating and actually it's increased a lot of my anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Not finally when I blocked him, I got a little relief because I wasn't getting pinged all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But now this page is out there, and it's out there all the time. There's relief that he's blocked. I don't get direct messages. But with that page out there, it's a 24/7 harassment.
Mm-hmm.
He posts something almost every day, sometimes hourly.
What kinds of things has he posted on? Because you haven't included that.
No, there was just again, there was just so much stuff. I just gave you examples of the page. You can go to it. It is an open Facebook page, and you can scroll on it.
Well, I'm not allowed to do any research, so I have to just
well,
stick with what you
I will
have.
tell you what is on there, and I'd be happy to get the screenshots. He has connected me to Nazis. The new masthead has me next to barbed wire, which I find incredibly offensive, considering what happened to Japanese Americans during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
He defames my character. A lot of.
And defames your character how?
I am a censor. I'm intolerant, and his whole point, his whole screed, and this has been going on for years with him. He is opposed to the National Defense Authorization Act, which is signed by President Obama. It allows actions, including drone strikes and things, without warrant.
Mm-hmm.
And the irony is, I agree with him on this issue.
Mm-hmm.
But he has said, because you supported President
candidates.
Obama, who signed this, I'm a bad person because I don't. I go, well, look, my girlfriend and I, or ex-girlfriend, we agree 99% of the time. I'm not going to break up just because she likes sappy movies.
Mm-hmm.
Your standard is incredible, and he'd do that. Plus, Jay Inslee was in Congress, and because I am supportive of these individuals, these political figures, somehow I'm not pure enough for him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really bullying tactic.
Citing this, but I guess the relevant inquiry for the court here is, how does his behavior make you feel?
Oh God, I'm frightened.
Mm-hmm. What are you frightened that will happen or that he will do?
Well, he said that he was outside my place, that alone, and he knows that people have said that about him, so maybe he's not doing it. I don't know. The thing that is also difficult for me is what this does to my reputation, as well as my own potential for clients and employment.
Mm-hmm.
If they Google this or they find this,
Mm-hmm.
that question has to be answered.
Mm-hmm.
And I just say I've got a cyber troll on me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's detrimental.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to have him stop. I've been able to block him on my page. He can't post. He can't come and text me on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So then he has this page. He can't let it go, which is clear harassment. It's named after me. He's attacking me, and it's up there constantly. And as long as it's up there, I don't have any rest because I know it's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's online harassment of the highest order. I don't know. I look at the definitions of cyber stalking. I don't know what other proof do you have to see that he's targeting me.
Yeah, the court's convinced that that there's sufficient evidence here to grant a temporary order.
Clarence Moriwaki perjured himself when he lied to the judge that Bonnie McBrien confirmed to him, by text message, that Ranierson was actually outside his home. Moriwaki admitted into evidence that very text message conversation, which shows that a clear analogy was confirmed to be a metaphor. Surprisingly, Moriwaki also admits to the judge, after a little giggle, that he knew the analogy was metaphorical. But despite having the text message from Bonnie, and despite him admitting he knew the obvious, that Ranierson's comment was a metaphor, which would not be concerning even if it was literal, Moriwaki continued his lie many months later, to a different judge at the Kitsap County Superior Court. We made a video using the court transcript to show Moriwaki lying to that judge about this same brainchild of our lying island idiot, Bonnie McBrien. Before we see the digital reenactment, let's take a look at the subject matter. It involves a post made by Renierson in a public discussion on the Facebook page of Bonnie McBrien. That Renierson clearly says he is referencing an analogy, and that in that analogy, he is on a public street in front of Moriwaki's house talking to mutual neighbors. He might have been metaphorically standing where I am right now in a public space on Winslow Green, since I am myself standing in front of his house on a public street with Winslow Green behind me. Bonnie seizes this opportunity to make a flimsy physical stalking claim, but in her attempt she gives up the ghost by stating that she assumed the self-described analogy was rhetorical. When it is confirmed that the analogy was in fact not meant to suggest that Renierson was actually in a public street talking to mutual neighbors, Bonnie then confirms that she understands that the analogy, which she said she assumed was rhetorical, was in fact a metaphor. Interestingly enough, she texted Moriwaki about this conversation and provided him a comment including the clear reference to the analogy. The key point here, as we see from the documented text message that Moriwaki supplied to the court, is that Bonnie confirmed the self-described analogy was a metaphor to Moriwaki, and she never made any suggestion that she had confirmed Renierson was actually outside on a public street physically. Let's see how that message conversation was relayed to the judge at the appeal hearing with this reenactment.
I also received a message informing me that Renierson Lee confirmed that he was physically stalking my home. And that's the definition of the stalker, net stalking. And there's the report of naturally physically stalking my home, which is also worthy of consideration.
That, to be fair, wasn't that immediately after, in the context of the analogy that you made to him, which I think is a very fair one, but when you say my Facebook page is my home, you are no longer welcome in my home. And then he goes into cyberspace and says, according to Mr. Moriwaki, I'm no longer in his home. I'm just outside his home. To be fair about that,
Well, yes and no. There was a person who did confront him online. You are speaking metaphorically, are you not? And he said, no, I'm not. So she sent that. Her name was Bonnie McBrien.
But he did, in fairness to him, Mr. Moriwaki, he did reference that using Mr. Moriwaki's analogy. I'm now standing outside his home. He couched it in those terms, correct?
Yes. But to me, as the person being targeted, the information I get is that I get a message from a friend saying, as quote, Richard announced he is outside your house. You might unblock him, take a screenshot, and consider calling the police. How else I'm not going to consider, as any sane person would, if you got the message, that you are being threatened and stalked. How else was I supposed to interpret the message?
I think at the moment, you definitely could interpret it that way. And in hindsight, you say, well, wait a minute, that really wasn't the situation. But at the moment, you're right. Of course.
To summarize, Moriwaki lies about the content of his text message with McBrien and tells the judge the exact opposite of what it stated. Here is that lie from the transcript one more time.
There was a person who did confront him online. You are speaking metaphorically, are you not? And he said, no, I'm not. So she sent that. Her name was Bonnie McBrien.
Despite Islanders, we must recognize the evil and the criminal among us. Clarence Moriwaki would have us believe that his actions, such as supporting politicians who murder Americans, and who legalize locking them up without charge or trial, are akin to a girlfriend liking sappy movies. But his actions are not so easily dismissed. Clarence's actions are truly deplorable. For too long we have allowed those in the political elite to turn neighbor against neighbor, over trivialities, while they lie to us about war, and their never-ending assault on our constitutional rights. Clarence Moriwaki was not smart enough to enter the political elite, but he still has ties to it. And he is a liar, and a fascist of the highest order, who literally attempts to use the power of government to violently silence neighbors with a different political opinion. Like Mussolini, or Hitler, Moriwaki has no respect for our rights, and will lie, caricature, and stoke the fear of the mob, in order to silence opposing voices. Bainbridge Island, we are better than that. Thank you neighbors for continuing to help us make our island a better place, by calling out the immoral and the criminal, like Clarence Moriwaki, who make our community a worse place. With your help, we can make our island the place it was meant to be. Please join us on our Twitter page for more information and, of course, ciao for now.